I've waited here for you, ever long. I'm kidding. Anyway, we're back with another video, and today we're going to work on this. This guitar is very special to me. The short version is that when I turned 16, my dad said, you can have any guitar you want, I'm going to buy it for you. And I chose a white Fender Strat because I idolized Jimi Hendrix and thought he was the coolest guitarist ever to live. In fact, I taught myself how to play by watching Woodstock over and over and over and over and over on my tube TV and copying him. Anyway, so this is it. This is a Mexican Stratocaster Fender. But over the years, I have changed the pickups in this guitar probably 20 times. The bridge pickup has been changed so many times, and I've never been happy with how it sounded. I thought the single coils sounded okay, but the bridge just never really sat right with me. And now that I've matured as a musician and as a guitarist, and that I've gotten better with working on guitars and stuff like that, I've realized that maybe we shouldn't be putting humbuckers in Strats. Maybe I should just go SSS. So I went to my local shop, John's Music Shop. I walked in, and Brad, who's worked there for a million years, was at the counter, and I said, Brad, I need a bridge pickup for my Strat. And he said, I found a set right here behind the counter, and he pulled this out. And he said, these are Fender Custom Shop. Okay, I'm not going to tell you how much he wanted for them, but it was not very much. It was less than $200. And I looked at them, and they weren't labeled as what they were, and I pulled them out, and I looked at the back, and I saw this. Custom Shop. But do you see those initials on the top? AY? Do you guys know what these are? Abigail. Abby pickups. These things have a cult following. My understanding is that Abby worked for Leo Fender himself and worked at Fender since the 50s. And she wound pickups a very particular kind of way. And these are now highly sought after by people if they were wound by Abby. And so I thought I needed a bridge pickup, but if I can get a full set of those, I'm going to get it. So I got a full set of those. We're going to install those today. The other thing is this guitar does not stay in tune very well. It was actually left in a storage unit for about 8 years. I went 8 years without playing, guys. My return to the guitar was actually the first video ever made on this channel back in, I think it was 2020 or 2019. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I wanted to get back in the guitar, so I bought a new one. This one had sat outside in a storage unit for so long that I think the neck might be totally toast on it. For example, listen to this fret right here. But the frets around it are fine. And if you bend it up, bend it down, but in the middle, I'm also going to put 500K pots for the bridge and the neck, and a 250K pot for the middle. I've decided to take out the tone control and wire this volume, volume, volume. So kind of like a Les Paul with no tone. Why would I do that? Well, I use a plexi when I gig, so I only have one channel by choice. I would like to have the amp cranked up really loud for heavy overdriven stuff with my bridge pickup. And I want to be able to roll this knob for the neck pickup down to like 2, so that I can just flip the switch and now I'm clean. And then flip the switch and now I'm dirty. Just use a distortion pedal. No, I don't use distortion pedals. I never have and I never will. Unless it's this modeling amp right here that I only use for testing stuff and for these YouTube videos. I like getting my distortion naturally from my amp. So I don't know how common it is to have a VVV Strat, but that's what I'm building today. We're also going to have this middle pickup on its own volume too. So that means that when we're blending, we can like blend these two pickups, and then I can turn the middle one down to take some of the quack away. Or I can turn this down to add some more quack to that tone. So that's what we're going to do. And then the last thing that we're going to do while I was at the shop, I didn't need it, but I was looking at their pickguards and I found this pickguard. And we were discussing it yesterday, and we decided it's the ugliest pickguard that we had ever seen. It is unforgivably, hideously ugly. And so I didn't buy it. But I woke up this morning and the first thing I thought was, I have to go buy it. It appears to be an official Fender guard because it has the QC sticker on the back of it, which I'll show you that first. There's the QC sticker. You can see that this is a real, it was only $15 by the way. You can see that it's a real Fender product. There's the QC sticker. But look at this color. Now, the lighting makes it look better than it is, okay? This is not metallic. This is like, it's literally like skid mark poop smear in the toilet poop brown, and it's just plastic. This gloss that you're seeing is the plastic cover. It looks like this came on a guitar and was taken off of that guitar for some reason. I wonder why. I wonder if there's any reason why. But I bought it to put on this guitar for this build, and I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna work, guys, but we're gonna try it anyway. So let's get everything on the bench and take a closer look at everything that we're gonna do here, and then let's get it done. Let's start with the pickups and get them out and show them to you. So we look at the back, we've got a Fender Custom Shop sticker. We got AY for her initials, 53102. So I'm incredibly excited about this. It looks like these came out of something because these are all snipped. There's a little bit of solder on this wire right here. So these were definitely used, and that's fine. Honestly, if I could choose a dream set of pickups to put in this Strat, it's very sentimental to me for obvious reasons. I would have chosen some vintage used pickups, and this is about as close as you can get because these are vintage wound by Abby, and they were used, so there we go. Next up, we've got the pots. So these are the 500Ks. 500 here, 500 here, here. And that's going to be for this pickup, and this obviously will be a single coil with the new guard. Why 500K? Well, typically with Strat pickups, you're going to get 250K. What I'd like to do instead is 500K, because what that does is it boosts the highs, it also boosts the lows, and then if it's too high, I can just turn this volume down slightly. You can't add the highs and the cutting, and I want to hear the true voice of the pickups. The only way to hear pickups with a true voice is to not have a volume pot and wire it directly to the jack. So with a higher value, you're going to get more of a pure sound. I won't go 1 meg because that would be way too much with single coils and it would cut your ears. What are these? These are actually Gibson pots, 500K for like a Les Paul or an SG. These were in my Annihilator guitar that had a Super Distortion and an SDS1. I changed those over to 1 meg, so now I've got these. I think I'm going to just put these in here for the 2 outside pickups. And then for the middle pickup, I'm going to use this 250K pot that I got from John. It's a lower value. It'll add some of the bass, which is kind of what you want with these blended positions, right? Position 4 and position 2. So I'm thinking that having that 250 in between these two 500s, I've never ever seen anybody do anything like that before. So it might be a terrible failure and I'll have to redo it, but if it works out, it'll be a great experiment. One thing of minor note to discuss, you might have noticed this. So my jacks, I do this with all my Strats. Why? Well, I like right angle cables, and it's just easier to plug the cable into the jack if it's upside down. So I take the plate and I always put it upside down on all of my Strats. It looks hilarious too, but that's why. You can kind of see here the remnants of being in a storage unit where this got all corroded and it got green crap, and I haven't cleaned it. I need to clean this guitar. And also the bridge is kind of the same way. Very corroded, rusty. Maybe that gives it some extra tone. I don't know. And even the knobs are starting to turn a little bit green. The one thing I have done on this is I have cleaned the fingerboard and used stainless steel wool on the frets to try to polish them because they were all green and disgusting. I got the old pickguard off, and all we're keeping is the white is the output for the jack, the black is the ground for the jack, and the red is the ground for the claw. Here's how it's gonna look. I don't know, I think it's kind of ugly. What do you think? Next, I'm gonna go ahead and get this all staged. So what I mean by that is I'm gonna get all the pots and put them where they go. I'm gonna get the switch and put it where it goes. I'm gonna put the pickups where they go, and then we'll wire it all together. All right, I got everything screwed in. There's the Gibson pot for one volume. There's the 250 pot for the other volume. There's the Gibson pot for the third volume. There's our 5-way switch. There's our pickups installed. Let's flip it around. And we're just gonna kind of lay it on so you can see what it's gonna look like. I guess it doesn't look terrible. Let's put this, just like set the knobs on there. That doesn't look too bad, does it? So I did take the single coil covers from the original guitar and these screws from the original guitar and put them on here. This one is new. Unfortunately, there is a slight color difference, but it's so slight. But these are naturally aged just from me owning this guitar for so long, as are the knobs. Okay, so a couple things happened since that last segment that I filmed. First is, after closer inspection, I think this neck is totally toast. If you look right here, there's a divot so deep that I don't think there's any way to save this neck, to be completely honest with you. I mean, look at how deep that is. It doesn't matter how I crown or file any of these frets, that note is always gonna die. So I have to replace this neck. That probably won't be in this video. We'll probably string this neck up anyway and just go with it, but I'm looking at it and I just don't think that's gonna work. We'll string it up to test it though. I also decided to wire this a little bit differently than we originally planned. I realized that I never use the middle pickup by itself, ever. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna wire the neck pickup to its own volume, the bridge pickup to its own volume, the middle pickup straight to the switch so that it works by itself with no volume control, and it also works in positions 2 and positions 4. But here is the thing I want to do. I'm also going to wire the neck pickup to this switch. When the switch is off, it behaves like a normal Strat. When the switch is on, it adds the neck pickup to whatever we have selected. So if we're in position 1, it can be like a telly, where we've got the neck and the bridge on at the same time. If we have it in position 2, where it's the middle and the bridge, then we can have all 3 pickups on at once. So let's take a look at what that looks like on a diagram. Apologies for how terrible of an artist I am, but we've got neck, middle, bridge, pot, switch, 5-way switch, jack, claw. First of all, we're going to take the bridge pickup and we're going to go to our bridge volume pot. So right there. We're going to take our neck pickup and we're going to put it on our neck volume pot, which is right there. We're going to take our middle pickup and we're going to put it straight on the switch, which is right there. Okay. What else we need to do? We need to take the jack hot, and that's going to go right here. We need to take the jack ground and put it on a common ground point. Let's call it right there. We need to take the claw ground and also put it on a common ground point, which is right there. We need to ground the jacks to themselves. We also need to ground the jacks to each other as well. What else do we need to do? Oh, obviously we need to take the grounds for each pickup and put them on that ground point too. So we'll do that. Take this one also while we're at it. I know it looks messy. The point isn't really to look at this picture when it's done, it's to talk through it as we do it. Okay. So the grounds are all in place. What else do we need to do? We need to take, so this one right here, this is the neck. So we need to take the neck pickup from this lug and we need to put it right here on the switch. We need to take the bridge pickup and we need to put it right here on the switch. And then there's one last thing we need to do. We need to take the neck pickup and put it to this switch right here in such a way that when it is on, it activates this in addition to whatever's on the switch. How do you do that? Well, you take the out of that pickup, which is what we're doing right now, and we're gonna put it right here on the switch, okay? And the very last thing you have to do is you take this right here and you put it to wherever the hot out is, which is right here. So, essentially, in a nutshell, I'm going to talk through this because I know this picture at this moment in time makes absolutely no sense and looks like gobbledygook. So let's talk it through one thing at a time. Neck pickup. Hot goes to the pot. Middle pickup. Hot goes to the switch. It has no control of its own. It only works in positions 2 through 4. Bridge pickup goes to its pot right here. You with me so far? The grounds all go to the back of a pot. Then lug 2 for the neck goes to the switch so that we can pick it. It also goes to this switch so we can turn it on in positions 1 and 2. And the hot for the bridge goes to the switch so that we can select it. That way, what we have in the, oh yeah, and you ground the output jack and you ground the claw. So the way this is gonna work when it's all done is it works just like a normal Strat, except you've got volume for one pickup neck, volume for one pickup bridge, no tone control, no volume for the middle pickup, and then you can throw the neck pickup on whenever you want. So if you want it to be like a telly and just have the bridge only on, so the switch is down all the way, but you want to add the neck to it, you can turn the switch on and it turns the neck on. You could also do it to where you have the middle and the bridge on and you want to add the neck pickup as well so that all three are on. Well, put it in that position with this switch here, and then boom, you can throw the switch right here and it'll turn that pickup on. So I'm gonna go ahead and solder all of that right now and come right back to you. All right, it's all done. It's kind of hard to tell, but this is exactly how we wired it in the schematic. Let's test it real quick. Okay, so right now we've got, okay. 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 Okay, make sure this works. Gone. Go back down here. Make sure that works. Gone. All right, now here's the big test. Flip the switch up, so nothing. Oh yeah. We did it. All right, so everything's screwed in now. It's awesome. Look at this. Flip this up, this pickup comes on. Flip it down, this pickup is off. I mean, how cool is that? I was worried that this would look really stupid and cheesy with this pickguard, but it actually looks pretty cool. I did use gold screws for the pickguard, so I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, but we're going to go ahead and string it up even with this jank neck that we're going to replace because I want to test it out and just make sure that everything works and see how it sounds. All right, so here we go. It's all ready. I can't wait to hear what it sounds like. So remember, just a quick overview. 500K volume, 500K volume, no pot, straight to the switch, and this switch down here turns the neck pickup on in any position. These are AY pickups. Let's go. 500K. You ready? Sounds awesome. Let's see how much we get when we turn this volume down a little. So just barely turning it down, like barely, takes that top end off. So here's that top end. I got it down like not even to 9. Sounds awesome. I love that. What's cool is like this 500K pot rolled down at all. So it's not, it's up all the way right now. If you move it at all, that's effectively your difference between a 250K and a 500K pot to my ear. That sounds like a 250. There's your 500. All right, let's listen to the neck and middle together now, with everything turned up all the way. By the way I wired this, if I roll the neck position down, the volume down to 0, while the middle position is also engaged in like position 4, for example, it cuts all the volume. See? All right, so let's listen to it now. Sounds awesome. Let's roll the volume down a little bit. And again, you're getting more of a traditional Strat sound with it rolled down a little bit. pickups sound very alive. Let's go to the middle now. Now there's no volume and there's no pot at all. This is straight middle pickup. So I don't know how this is gonna sound. Let's see, what do we want to play? Let's do something here. Don't lie, you don't use the middle position alone. So it doesn't sound great, but I don't think the middle position on its own sounds great like ever anyway. That's just me. All right, let's do middle and bridge now. That sounds really good. Let's turn that bridge volume down a little bit though. And there's that bass. The bass just goes whoop when you turn that down at all. With it up all the way, listen. Now listen, when I turn it down just a tiny, tiny fraction of a butthole hair. I mean, that sounds like a blues record right there. It just makes you want to go, you know? Even though you done me wrong, oh, you'll be sorry someday. I'm sorry, I'm like forgetting I'm recording a video. This is amusing me so much. It sounds amazing. Let's turn it down to the bridge alone. It's interesting how that 500K pot does so much with so little. What I mean by that is, if I turn this down at all, and I said this already, I'm going to say it again. If I turn this down at all, it turns into like, almost like a humbucker is the best way I can describe it. It shaves the top end off almost completely, and it adds a lot more thud. Para ejemplar. If I do it just like this, do you hear that spike? If I turn it down a little, you can even hear it in the static. It's down to like 9.5 out of 10. I like that. I basically wanted to have like a no-load volume, if that makes sense. I wanted to hear what the pickup sounded like with nothing interrupting their path. That's why there's no tone knob. And I've also just proven for me why I don't need a tone knob. I wouldn't want to take any more treble away than what I'm losing by rolling this volume off. The reason I did this at all was so that I could have a really high gain sound and have like my neck turned down pretty low, and then I'd have like a clean here. and a dirty here. But now it's time for the moment of truth, though. What does it sound like if we add the neck pickup to the bridge pickup? So that's what this knob should do, in theory. You already hear it change. So here it is with just the bridge. Let's turn it on. Oh yeah! And because I have different volumes, I can blend these however I want. Let's take the top off a little bit. That's awesome. Let's roll them both down a little. That was just with the bridge rolled down. Let's roll down them both a little bit. They're at like 9 out of 10 right now. This is remarkable. This sounds so cool. It sounds like a telly almost. But there's one setting we haven't checked yet. What does it sound like if we turn all of the pickups on at once on a Strat? So I've got it in position, what would this be, position 2? I don't know how you guys number them. I'm going to call it position 2. This is the bridge and the middle together. Let's add the neck to it so that all three are on at once. Are you ready? That sounds cool. But you know me. I am a blues guy. Like in my heart and in my soul and in my body and in my being. I picked this Strat because of Jimi Hendrix, right? But what about like, I don't know, something else? And there's why I wanted to have that wide open. Because if I have an amp like that, with that kind of a sound, it sounds great. I mean, I'm playing a 3-piece band. So the low end is already occupied by the drums and the bass. I need to be able to take the rest of it. And I can take the rest of it with this single coil turned up all the way. I don't want to copyright myself, but there you go. Let's see what the rest of the positions sound like. I don't know, how about this? Let's see what all the pickups on sound like in this position with this amount of gain and saturation. That's very interesting. It sounds very like SRV or Hendrix-ish. That's very cool, but I think what we need to do now is a direct comparison between these pickups and the stock pickups that came in my 2006 Mexican Fender Standard Stratocaster. So let's do that comparison now. Alright, so there you go. We installed the AY pickups, and I think it went really well. I'm very, very pleased with it. I think they sound incredible, and if you find them somewhere or have a chance to get them, I think that you should. They are definitely worth the money if you're a Strat person and you're looking for pickups for any Strat-shaped object, or honestly any guitar for single coils. Abigail, AY, whatever you want to call her, did a fantastic job, and I'm very proud to own a set of pickups wound by her. I definitely recommend it. I think they sound great. I think this mod went really well too. But we still got this kind of problem going on. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This fret is dead. You can hear it. So the problem is that the fret is so deep, the divot right here, that I'm gonna have to just replace the whole neck. So I've got a new neck right off camera, and we're going to install that and some new tuners in the next video. So I guess this is a series now. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate all of you. Please like and subscribe. See you next time. Keep on rocking. God bless.